This presentation introduces the idea of course-focused assessment, what it is, why it's useful, and what it means for practice. So let's look at some of the challenges that assessment brings with it and why we need to think differently about our assessment methods. So there is an overemphasis on assessment of learning, and we talk about assessment for learning and have been for a while. In other words, seeing assessment as an opportunity to support students develop their understanding of the subject. A major challenge is the size and the diversity of our student cohorts. How do we go about designing assessment for so many students? If we are preoccupied with modules, it becomes difficult to see the whole picture of the course and the purpose of the module within that. With the massification of higher education, problems such as poor attendance, engagement, and a lack of sense of course belonging and becoming seem to have come with it. We have great difficulty in reliably convincing students to study independently outside of class. And notoriously in the sector, academics have difficulty in providing clear, timely, meaningful and supportive feedback. And if we do supply good quality feedback, it seems that students are bad at engaging with it and applying it to improve their future learning. All of this calls out for a need to focus on the student's course experience. So let's look at this idea of course-focused assessment. What does it mean? It talks about a student-centered approach to designing the course and its assessment. So assessment and feedback in a course-focused approach are designed holistically and not separately, simply focusing on topics and modules. Assessment is driven by course learning outcomes. Ultimately, it's about who the student will become. Course-focused assessment seeks to make connections across modules, enhancing course meaning and prioritizing student motivation. Assessment is designed to suit the course context, the subject matter, and the attributes we are developing in our students. Note that what we call course-focused assessment is sometimes called other things in other places. It's sometimes referred to as program-level assessment, program-focused assessment. You'll hear about the tester project, the pass project, and ideas like integrated assessment. These projects and programs all have similar ideas in mind in terms of making assessment more holistic and more focused on the student. So why adopt it? This is about the student's experience of their course and ensuring their satisfaction with that experience by being immersed and intrinsically driven by their learning. And this is difficult to achieve in a module-centric view of delivery. One of the problems we find in a module-centric world is duplication of content, including the assessment types we use. So a course-focused approach actually allows us to look at what is being taught and how it is being taught holistically. It also allows for connections to be made through levels, so that what we do at level 4 can be built upon at level 5 and built upon at level 6. This is sometimes referred to as the spiral curriculum. Another problem that we must address is the problem of assessment bunching, when all of a sudden students realize at a point in the semester that in every module they're taking, they have an assessment task, and the pressure on them is unnecessarily stressful. Ultimately, it reduces their ability to do well. A course-focused approach promotes consistency of learning experience. This does not mean standardization, but it means that the message coming from one module, from one teacher, is not inconsistent with that coming from another. The teaching team is on the same page. This provides clarity, and the students get a much stronger sense of a joined-up experience. By taking a course-focused approach, we look beyond our own module learning outcomes and embody the course learning outcomes more thoroughly across and through the course. A course-focused approach is an integrated approach. It supports slow learning and the idea of student becoming. It supports individuals to aspire and adopt the identity of their discipline. This contrasts with being topic, content, and module-centered. Modularity limits what can be assessed and the ways we can go about assessment. By taking a level or a course view, many more options become available for really integrating our approach to assessment. Because of the limitations of the module, we tend to fixate on skills delivery and service engagement. An opportunity to go deeper and wider and make strong connections becomes difficult. Margaret Price has highlighted the problem of synthesis. She says, without integration, synthesis is largely left to the student and not assessed. In other words, knowledge remains in its convenient bite-sized packages. The connections between what a student learns in one place and another is not satisfactorily joined up. One of the key opportunities of a course-focused assessment approach is to reconsider the provision of feedback and how feed-forward can be developed by connecting one activity in one module to future experiences at different levels in the course. This can help to address the dead-end feedback experience that is often the case in a module-centric view, where feedback has nowhere to go. A course focus allows us to integrate skills and attributes within an experiential view of learning. This means that all modules taken by a student can consistently incorporate skills and attributes rather than leaving their development to particular modules. So, what's all this mean in practice? Firstly, it means taking a course team approach, in which academics work together cooperatively to design and support each other in developing a joined-up approach. It means that modules are fundamentally designed in relation to each other. Being course-centered quite simply means we ask, what is the course about? What are we trying to do? What do our students need to become? Being course-centered means that each of us have an oversight of what is being taught in other modules and when. And the methods we use for assessment fit into an overall course assessment and feedback strategy. It means that assessment is student-centered and learning-driven. It means that we pay attention to the appropriate formative and summative methods for the course and its module content. Above all, what it means is that assessment supports a coherent design, and this creates opportunities, for example, for using learning scenarios from professional contexts across modules to foster professional practices, and to look at the development of attitudes and values by taking an authentic learning approach.